And we are back. Welcome to another Team of the Season player review video. This time we are talking all things Bundesliga Team of the Season. And before we get into the players today, a reminder for you, if you have not watched this week's pack opening released on Friday, please go check that out now. We packed some of the best Bundesliga Team of the Seasons out there, and you're about to see the team that I built from those packs. So make sure you check that video out, and while you're over there, drop a like on that video, and then when you make your way back to this one, drop a like on this video as well, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get into these player reviews. And here is the team that I assembled from all of the pack pulls that we got during that Bundesliga Team of the Season video. As you can see, we packed a whole host of the big ones. Obviously, the tip-top ones, the rest of them are still on the bench in the concepts, but I've had the opportunity to use all but De Ligt in draft so far, so we can have a good conversation about them as well. Let's start off with the goalkeeper, like always, and I have to say, I am very torn on Kobel. I'll give him a 7 out of 10, shall we say, because in some games he is absolutely incredible, saves everything. He has clutched up in big FUT Champs games for me already this weekend, and in the 10-0 run that I had in qualifiers this week. But other games, it's just like he's got no hands at all, and he'll do that flop save that we were talking about with Alisson a couple of weeks ago. It's very, very bizarre. He's very inconsistent, but I just think all goalkeepers are at the moment, with the exception of maybe Prime Yashin, who I don't think I've ever seen have a bad game for my opponents. I don't really know about goalkeepers at the moment, but Kobel is decent. If you have the right players to link him in, he is a very good option to have, and of course at 6'5" is very flexible, and with the 4-star weak foot as well, makes him very, very useful, although I'll be honest with you, he doesn't look 6'5" in game. On to the defence then. Jeremy Frimpong is terrible. I know I said in the pack opening that everyone's been bigging this guy up, but look, I've said it enough times. Me personally, I can't deal with 5'7" defenders. I just need my defenders to be big and powerful, and if you did the Thomas Meunier SBC, which is obviously available here, it's just so much better. He is so much better. He's way more physical. He's 6'4". He's got 5-star skill, 5-star weak foot. He's lengthy on a shadow. Just, if you've got Meunier, don't bother about Frimpong. He's just not worth your time. On to the 3 centre-backs, and this is where it becomes a little bit unfortunate, because you look at these two, and you look at this Doki from the objectives, and you would think that, especially when you compare him to Lacroix, Schlotterbeck's a little bit different because he's left-footed, but Lacroix on an anchor, Doki on a shadow, they're basically the exact same card when you actually look at the in-game stats. Balance and agility, defending, physical, pace, it's all relative, and when Doki gets that shadow, he matches up as well. The slight difference is Lacroix's a little bit better at passing, but for whatever reason, Lacroix is just way better in game. He is so much better. Honestly, right now, he's probably one of the best centre-backs in the game. And when you're looking at like 1.5 million for Varane and 1.6 million for this De Ligt, like, this Lacroix is 60k. And I'm telling you, he's as good as Varane, so he's probably as good as De Ligt as well. Like I say, I've not tried De Ligt, he's the only one I've not tried, but I'm not spending 1.6 million on a card like this when Lacroix is that good. And equally as good is this Schlotterbeck. And rather controversial statement I'm going to make right here. I think he's the best left-sided centre-back on the game right now, and I mean left-footed. Obviously, there are 4-star weak foot centre-backs and 5-star weak foot centre-backs that you can put on that left-hand side, and they will do as good a job, if not better. But as a pure left-footed centre-back, I think Schlotterbeck's the best in the game right now. He's way better than the flashback Laporte, who, when I've come up against Laporte in this weekend league, I've absolutely decimated him. When I've come up against Schlotterbeck, I've struggled a lot more. And when I've been using him, he is fantastic. So as a centre-back pairing, for a combined cost of about 100k, this is a really strong centre-back partnership. On to the left-back. Obviously, the only left-back we have available to us is Alphonso Davies. You will see I've got him as a left mid with a gladiator. That is because in-game, in my main team, I actually play him as my box-to-box left-sided midfielder, because I start with a 3-back and move Nathan Ake to left-back in game, because I still think Nathan Ake is the best left-back on the game. If you are going to use Alphonso Davies as a left-back, look, he's phenomenal. He's everything you want. 99 pace, 6'1", high, 5-star skill, 4-star weak foot. You need to give him a backbone or even an anchor just to boost that strength, maybe even an architect, but then you're losing the defending stats. For me, even though he's got 99 pace, giving him an anchor is still the smartest move because he needs the tackling and the physical boosts. He is very, very good, but for me, he's much better going forward, either as a left mid in a 3-5-2 or as a box-to-box midfielder on that left-hand side of midfield. So for me, that's where I play Alphonso Davies, but he is fantastic at left-back as well. Rafa Guerreiro, of course, can play left-back as well. I am playing him in this team as that said box-to-box midfielder. And again, I can't use him at left-back because, once again, he's 5'7", high-medium, weak. I can't use fullbacks like that. If you know how to use fullbacks like that, fair play to you. I'm sure this Guerreiro and Frimpong are fantastic for you. But for me, it just doesn't work. All round, Guerreiro is fantastic as a box-to-box midfielder as well. The only real person we can compare him to in this team currently would be the likes of Kimmich and Musiala, because they are also small, nippy players. For me, Kimmich and Guerreiro are basically the same card. It's just Kimmich is right-footed and Guerreiro is left-footed. So Guerreiro for 150k as an SBC, in my opinion, way more worth it than buying Kimmich for 350k. Equally as good. If you pack Kimmich, then fantastic. Congratulations to you. But for me, Guerreiro is just more worth it because he is cheaper. Musiala, on the other hand, is a slightly different one. He, of course, has the 81 defending, which makes him more usable as a box-to-box midfielder. He does have some fantastic defending stats all round. To have 84 interceptions, 82 defensive awareness, 82 stand, and 88 slide on what is essentially an attacking midfielder. That is a phenomenal option, and I understand why he's 1.8 million, but again, for me, if you've got this Giovanni Reina, if you did the Griffo, I'm not going to say Hoffman. Hoffman was bang average, but if you've got Julian Brandt as well, these three are all fantastic options to play cam or as box-to-box midfielders. The only issue that I have with Reina and with Griffo is their lack of ability to start as a centre mid. So if you did have Reina from the objectives, then he's a very good option. For me, Griffo is better again, but like I say, he can only play on the left-hand side or at cam. If he could start as a box-to-box centre mid, I would be recommending Griffo over Guerreiro. I think Griffo is that good. He plays absolutely brilliantly in game. And a point that I will get onto in a moment about Bellingham is that if you're going to be spending an awful lot of money on a player, don't spend it on Musiala, because 1.8 million for a player that you get 95 to 99% ability from the likes of Reina, Brandt and Griffo, it's just not worth spending that much on Musiala. Now we'll move on to the big two midfielders. Those are, of course, the Jude Bellingham that I was able to pack. And if you missed that, like I say, check out last video. It was an incredible moment packing this 97 Jude Bellingham. And, of course, Leon Goretzka. These are our two big box-to-box midfielders, both 5-star weak foot, and look, they're absolutely phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, what's the current price of this Jude Bellingham right now? He's still coming in at around 4.5 million coins. 4.7 million coins for this Jude Bellingham. If you've got 4.7 million coins, or if you've got like 6, 7 million coins, don't buy Jude Bellingham. Like, same point I was just making about Musiala. This card is absolutely phenomenal. He is not 100 times the price of other very, very good cards. Like, what you could do is, instead of having this Jude Bellingham, you could buy this Leon Goretzka for 800k and then spend another 4 million buying an absolutely insane team around them. And like I say, don't get me wrong, Jude Bellingham is fantastic. He is 99 rated as a CDM. He is incredible as a box-to-box midfielder or as a CDM. If you play 3-5-2, if you play 4-2-3-1, and you can get Bellingham and Goretzka both in the same team, it is unbelievable. It's possibly the best dual centre-mid partnership that I have used, possibly ever. However, as I was just saying, there are so many other midfielders. There are so many other midfielders that are going to be coming out over the coming weeks that are 95 to 99% as good as this Jude Bellingham card, and they're no more than 50 to 100k. So for me, Jude Bellingham is not worth it, but you know my thoughts on this. I don't think any player is ever worth 5 million coins. I don't care who it is, because at this stage of the game as well, there's just going to be so many players that are just off the level of this 97 card, and they're just more worth it because you can build better teams around them. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying Jude Bellingham, but if I'm honest, I wish this one was tradable so I could sell him and make much more better all-rounded teams, but sure. Jude Bellingham, Leon Goretzka, both fantastic cards. Would recommend both if you've got infinite money, but if you've not, if you've got like a 3 million budget, I'd recommend Goretzka. if you've got a five, even like I say, a 5 or 6 million budget, I wouldn't recommend Jude Bellingham. He's just too expensive for me. On to the attackers, and there are a fair few attackers that we need to start looking at. Realistically, the only real right-wing option is Moussa Diaby. He's okay, but for me, he's not fantastic. I know a lot of people love Moussa Diaby, and I just think it's, again, if you're using explosive players, you really need them in the middle of the pitch, in my opinion. He is dangerous out wide at times, but it just depends what fullback he's coming up against. If he's coming up against a fullback that's like incredibly lengthy, like one of them that's got a pace split and is lengthy, sure, Diaby's a threat. Against most normal fullbacks, though, he's just not going to get anything. Again, at this stage of the game, if he's coming up against a Team of the Year Ashley Cole or a FUT Fantasy Capdevila or a top-end Teo Hernandez, something like that, he's not going to get anything off him. Being explosive just isn't worth it in the wide areas. In the middle, he's dangerous. With the 5-star skill, he's fantastic. But for me, considering the other forwards that I have available in this lineup, for me, he was the worst option. On the other side, Marco Reus is absolutely unbelievable. And you can play him up front as well, which just makes flexibility in terms of team building. He is fantastic. Sadio Mane is absolutely unbelievable. His stats don't really reflect it, but that's because I was playing him up front in this team, and then in my main team, he's now playing on the right wing to accommodate Harry Kane and Eusebio. But again, absolutely nuts card. Whether or not he's worth 1.5 mil, again, I'm not so sure. I think there are other options available for a hell of a lot cheaper. Just a standard Mbappe is like 200k now, and I don't think you're going to get much more from this Sadio Mane than a standard Mbappe can give you. As for the other forwards, Kolo Muani is so much better than he has any right to be. I mean, check out his stats. This was all in FUT Champs qualifying. 4 games, 9 goals. Just put an engine on him, and his stats are fantastic. Let's just have a look at them here. So, when you give him 98 agility and 88 balance, gives him that 99 dribbling stat in game, near enough 99 pace. He got 95 finishing and a 4-star weak foot. It feels like it's 99 finishing and a 5-star weak foot. This card is only coming in at 40k, and this is my whole point about Mane again. Mane's 1.5 mil. Kolo Muani is 40k. Kolo Muani has a better goals per game ratio than Sadio Mane for me in qualifying. So, again, pick and choose who you want. Mane's incredible, but this Kolo Muani is absolutely fantastic. Thuram's a little bit different. Again, it's a bit of a shame that the two objective players are probably the two worst players, considering how much effort it took to actually get them. Thuram's all right. I used him more as a build-up play player, like I say, backing in, the way I use big centre forwards like the Ketelaar, like I used to use Dominic Calvert-Lewin all those years ago. Just play the ball into him, feed it off to others. He's a threat in the air, but all round, he's just not at the same level as Kolo Muani or Sadio Mane or Marco Reus if you play him up front. The only other wing out there is, of course, Leroy Sané. He feels fantastic in game. I was a bit torn about what chemistry style to give him. Sometimes it felt like he needed a little bit more. Maybe I gave him an engine. I gave him the Hawk to boost his physical stats. He could benefit from playing on a marksman. I was a bit unsure. I tried around, fiddled around with a few little things. He can start at cam and at right mid as well. So again, very flexible card. Very cheap. 4-star, 4-star. Depending on your style of play, he is a very, very usable card. And of course, being German and Bayern Munich, very, very linkable as well. So I would recommend him as well. Finally then, we have the other player that I haven't talked about, which is, of course, Christopher Nkunku. I have tried him out in a couple of drafts. He is absolutely nuts, as you'd expect from a 95 rated 5-star player that can play striker cam or centre forward. He is so flexible. Obviously, in draft, I can only play him as a centre forward, but at times I was moving him into midfield, depending on who I wanted to bring on. He's absolutely crazy, but again, if we look at his actual price, no, not his there. Oh. Where is it? You'd have to go on here quickly. Team of the season. Yeah, you're talking 4 million coins again. In my opinion, not worth it. Save your coins. Get literally any other half-decent 5-star player that's around 100 to 200k. They'll do 95% of the job this Nkunku does. So those are my thoughts on the Bundesliga team of the season. Let me know yours down in the comments. If you disagree with any of my opinions on maybe the likes of Frimpong, Guerrero as a fullback, you disagree that I think Jude Bellingham is overpriced, or I think De Ligt is overpriced, or Nkunku's overpriced, let me know those thoughts down in the comments. Thank you very much for watching as always. I will see you next week with my review of the La Liga team of the season.